Hello everyone, welcome to Live at the Waterhole this afternoon. My name's Kelly. I'm going to be with you for the next couple of hours to see what these amazing cameras have to offer everyone. Welcome to everyone who's joined us either this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whatever the time may be, wherever you are in the world. A nice peaceful start to this afternoon. A very content looking buffalo there. I would have liked to spend the day doing that yesterday. It's been very, very hot and sticky and humid up here in Lowfeld, around the Kruger area the last few days. Don't forget we are coming to you live, so please send your questions in to Wild Earth TV /questions, or you can scan the QR code you can see on your screens. Send us all your questions, all your thoughts, all your hopes, all your dreams, and we love hearing from all of you. Join the conversation on X using #WildEarth, or again, scan the QR code you can see there at the moment. So these buffalo up at the Kruger Shalati camera, I can see two in here, but it always gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit when I see buffalo in reeds. I was taught very early on that we don't walk in reeds, and these guys are just, well, right here are two of the reasons we do not walk in reeds, especially near rivers, because these big old buffalo, they love to hang out in these nice, cool, reedy areas. Colin Eames, hello. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We look forward to hearing from you on a regular basis, letting us know where you are in the world, what you've been up to. Mercedes Bean, greetings. Wild Earth crew, the chatters, happy Tuesday. Back at you, Mercedes. Lovely to have you here with us. Colin, I also hope I will find loads of animals. But we just never know. As we often say in the bush, you never know what's around the corner. These cameras give us the amazing ability to hop between different areas, so it's not even like you have to wait to drive around each corner to see what you're going to find. We're fortunate enough to be able to hop between these cameras and things just appear. It's such a joy having all these different locations to be at without the travelling and the traversing. Grace, you say you love the reeds. I love the reeds as long as I'm not in them. Then I'm not such a fan. It's great for shade, for animals to hide in. So I love watching the really nice birding sometimes in reeds, but you also find many things you may not want to bump into in there. So I like the reeds, but I like them from a distance. Rebecca Bishop, good morning, Wild Earth Chatters, and thank you so much for joining us. It's lovely to have you, Rebecca. Ari, good morning, afternoon, everyone. Greetings from Amersfoort in the Netherlands. Oh, you're going to be chilly there, I think. I'd love to hear about what you're all up to today, what your weather is doing there, and how you are going to be spending the next couple of hours enjoying these cameras. Fuzzy Dunlop, great name. Happy Tawny Tuesday. And to you, Fuzzy Dunlop, thank you for being here with us. Not so tawny at the moment. Got this big old male buffalo relaxed here, chewing on the cud, ruminating, getting as much nutrition as he possibly can from whatever he has found. Probably lots of stuff, lots of availability this time of year. I can't quite see it. Looks like he's got. No, wait. I've been thinking that's a bird on him, but it's not. That buffalo that's in full view there. I kept thinking, is that a bird or something? But I think that's the tip of his horn sticking up above his back there. That was really weird. I was struggling to get perspective on that then. Johan O. Hi, Kelly and team from sunny Victoria in sunny South Africa. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Laura Walker, snow recently in New England. Woof. Yeah, see, mid-range works for me. Although, to be honest, despite having been born in England, grew up in England, I actually do quite well in hot temperatures or warmer climes. When it gets up to in the 40s, not so much, but I think my optimal operating temperature is probably around about 32, 30 is probably where I'm at my most comfortable. Sheila Patel, hello from Sheila in a cloudy, cold and gloomy London. Sheila, I know it well. Sit back and enjoy for the next couple of hours. Snuggle up in a blanket, make a nice warm drink, maybe some biscuits. I'm a big fan of biscuits, especially when it's cold, and immerse yourself into the beauties of the African bush and see if you can absorb some of its warmth from a distance. Spas Imkov. Hi Kelly, great to see a buffalo. Anything I missed? Haven't seen a buffalo here at Kruger Shalati for a long time. Do big herds cross the river here? Ever visited this place before? Yes, I have. I do know this bridge. I've never actually been into the property it's fairly new. It's been there fairly recently. I actually used to work not too far from this area. I was based in this area, not actually in the Kruger Park, but not too far away at all. And I've never physically watched a big herd of buffalo cross the river at this exact point. But I do know from time to time, big herds did move into the area, and often cross through and carry on. Um, they're often more mobile in early mornings and very late afternoons, almost into dusk. And big herds of buffalo will often find coolish spots to rest up in during the day. It wouldn't. I don't know this camera well, but if anyone else out there is a avid full-time viewer, I would love to hear, as I'm sure Spas would as well, if um, a big herd, a big group has been seen crossing here. But I'm just thinking back. I've spent quite a lot of time in the Krug Park itself, and now I think back, I haven't seen. Okay, I've just had one very reliable report that the most they've seen on this camera is 10 to 12. And I'm just trying to think, I've spent a lot of time looking at rivers in the Kruger Park. I've also spent quite a lot of time looking at dams and pans in the Kruger Park. And I've seen more big herds of buffalo come to dams than I have cross rivers. Whether or not that's proportionate to how much time I've spent near them, I'm not sure. It could be this time of year there are calves around, and there's been a lot of water fall in the last sort of month or so. I'm not exactly sure of numbers. Um, but it has rained and it's rained hard, so this river is probably quite high. It doesn't look like it here. So maybe um, herds stay away from rivers a bit more for risk of being swept away. I'm not sure. But so far, it's a fairly reliable report that the biggest group we've seen on this camera is about 10 to 12. So, wow, Spaz, that was a really long, convoluted answer I just gave you there. Have I ever visited this place before? Yes. Do we sometimes see large herds of buffalo in this area? It's possible, but the biggest we've seen is 10 to 12. That was more concise, wasn't it? But thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. We love to hear your comments and thoughts. Something I really like about this sort of interaction is I like to debate things. I like to ponder things, and your questions really give me something to think about. The longer I've been in Africa and the longer I've been watching nature and been in the bush, I realise I know less and less. And there's so few solid answers to things. And the longer you're around, the more you realise this. So send all your questions in to wildearth.tv/questions, or you can scan the QR code. Even if it's not a question, if you've just realised something or noticed something, you're welcome to join the conversation on X using #WildEarth, or scan the QR code you can see on your screens. The Voyo, lovely sighting. He's having breakfast in the pool. He's on vacation. Absolutely. Um, this is definitely. I'm just trying to think. I was going to say, oh, I wouldn't mind being one of these boys, but there's always the risk of, predation and stuff, and I'm sure he had to. Although, if there's a group of male buffalo in a herd, they don't tend to fisticuff too much. There's certainly other male animals that are more defensive of herds or prides or women or females or whatever you want to call it. I don't think I'd mind being one of these guys. I mean, check. Sitting there in the pool, chilling. Dean, what shocked you the most when I first got to South Africa and saw the wildlife? Dean, that is a brilliant question. I obviously lots of people have grown up in nature. They've been going to the Kruger Park since they were very young. But I first came to Africa in 2003, and I came with my mum. God bless her. And it was something that we'd both always wanted to do. And I remember the first bit of African wildlife that I saw, and I remember it very, very clearly. I grew up watching David Attenborough. Um, Always enjoyed nature. I'm a horse rider, animal lover, but I'd never been on safari. And we travelled from the UK. We flew overnight. We got to KMI, and then we flew from there up to. No, we flew into KMI from Johannesburg, which I now know is a strange way of doing it. And then we drove up from KMI to the Sabi Sands. And when I first moved here, a 2.5 hour drive was actually a really long drive. 2.5 hours is not a long drive for me anymore. And we drove in through one of the gates in the Sabi Sands, and as we drove through a gate, a hyena ran across the road, like right in front of the car, and I was gobsmacked. I actually burst into tears. It had been a long trip. It had been a long travel, um, and I was like, "That's a hyena. That's literally a hyena in front of the car." And I clearly remember that feeling, um, that that was actually a hyena, and it was right there. So that was my first ever um, true wildlife experience in Africa. And just that, I suppose the shock was that it existed. They were real. Um, Putting all those um, videos and videos, wow, showing my age, all that viewing I'd done before of these amazing animals. And it was there. It was like right there in front of me. And I remember that feeling very, very clearly. Um, so yeah, great question, Dean. Thanks for asking. That was my first impression of wildlife. Laura Walker, good to see all the rain. It is indeed. The rivers are full. There was some flooding a while ago, in a few different areas of the Kruger. I know where I am at the moment, we got 85 mils in, I think it was like half an hour, which is a lot of water. It's brilliant to see these rivers, dams, pans, everyone is happy and enjoying the water. We've got some Egyptian goosey gooseys here. But yeah, I agree, Laura. It's an absolute joy to see such times of plenty. Yeah, that really freaked me out that I couldn't work out. I thought that was a bird on his back, but I think it's actually the two. Sorry about that, everyone. It seems there's a little bit of a internet glitch down there in Ravonia. Apologies for a change. It wasn't my side, which which is joyous. So apologies for that. Thank you for persevering. This is the top end of an elephant. Oh, no, ooh. When you said, Laura Walker, good to see everything full, this is how full everything is. It's literally deeper than an elephant. This is actually really nice to see. I actually saw some, I think Ben's also recently had some some proper swimming elephants. It's not that common. I saw it a few times in another one of the reserves that spent quite a bit of time in. This is in Sarby Sands, and it's so that the elephant, or is it an elephant dive? That elephant is having a blast. I think what really like to hear today, it is, yeah, this is a very This is a very nice image of an elephant. That's one happy elephant. Well, I think what I'd really like, I've spent the last sort of 10 minutes thinking, what would I want to be if I was one of these animals that we see fairly regularly on the cameras. I mean, you could be as random as you want. Um, but I would love to hear what everyone would like to be. Which one of these animals in the summer? This time, it looks like it had a fin or something. It looked like a really big catfish fin. But I'd love to hear what everyone would like to be this time of year, these conditions, because obviously animals' life um, quality changes during the course of the year. But yeah, let us know what you would like to be this time of year. You're welcome to join the conversation on X using hashtag WildEarth. But that big male buffalo looked pretty happy, so I would probably normally. I like the idea of eagles as well. But send us what you would like to be. Which one of these beautiful creatures you see on these cameras? Send it into wildearth.tv/questions or scan the QR code. I think for now, I think I'm going to stick with big male buffalo in a pan, constantly eating. I like the idea of that. Gone looking. You're saying wild camping in Botswana. It was the most amazing thing you've ever experienced. So quiet, relaxing, exhausting, everything you'd expect and more. Gone looking, it is an incredibly special experience going wild camping. I assume, do you mean sort of backpacking, sleeping out camping, primitive camping? Check, has he got? Hey, look, he's got a stick and everything now. Splush. This is one happy elephant. Um, Spas. You never knew elephants would do that. Maybe they could use their trunks as a snorkel. Yeah, absolutely. They totally do. 100% elephants use their trunks as a snorkel. Um, why wouldn't they? Little piece of equipment. But yeah, gone looking wild camping. I often when I've had guests, um, if people have been a few times, so they've experienced a few of the different lodges on a few occasions. Um, as we all know, uh, safari and the bush are, I almost want to say addictive. Addictive's not the right word. You never finish. In my opinion, you never finish with the bush. You never. this elephant is never going to finish with this pool. I don't think. Aria pool party at Sabi Sands. Yeah, this is more like a. This isn't a pool party. This is some good alone time in a pool. But I will often suggest to people once they've got comfortable with their environment and they understand a bit more about the bush and about nature, obviously with professional, qualified, um, accredited professional guides. A sleep out walking camping experience is something very, very special. Um, it really knocks you down to size, put it that way. Any superiority complexes you may have felt um, vanish very, very quickly. Are you done, Ellie? Ha, I made a joke. No, I'm not going to make my joke again because it won't be as funny if I make it a second time. But yeah, wild camping, very, very special experience. Splash, you definitely want to be either an elephant or a hippo, enjoying the full water season. Yeah, see, hippo is another good one, but they have to get out. Well, I suppose elephants do as well. I went against hippo because their diet's more limited. But I suppose buffalo also only technically eat grass, although that one did look like it was eating reeds. Um, I'm just trying to get the least movement and as much food availability as possible, just so I can sit in a puddle and do very little else. But that is that elephant running now? Is there? I don't know. Is this elephant the only guy here? He's just taken himself to the pool for like the afternoon. Yeah, I'm just trying to think if we can zoom out or I don't know, but this elephant didn't. I can't see anyone else in this shot, the same as no one else can. Um, Maybe he's broken away from the herd to go swimming, which I think is brilliant. I've also been known to sneak off from parties to go for a nice peaceful swim as well. No one to judge your swimming antics. Off he goes into the bush. Definitely. I think lone swimming is the way forward. Yeah, look, there's no, I can't see any others there. Maybe they're like in the shade. I'm pointing with my hand, sort of. Maybe they're in the shade over there to the. Well, they could be anywhere. Um, no, man, he's come for a swim on his own. Brilliant. You guys wait there. I'm just going to go and do something important. And off he's come for a swim. Fair play. Oh, it's so nice to see water in here. I did see it when this was empty a while ago. It's very, very sad. But this is, oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful now. Oh, yeah, happiest elephant on earth. I think so. I love the fact that he just ducked away from his family and went for a swim. Harry, it doesn't matter to me which animal, bird, insect I see on the cameras. Each has its own charm. I agree. There's something for everyone here. Never a dull moment. That was lovely watching that elephant have a nice swim there on his own. But let's head across to Tembe, see what we've got there at Tembe. And we can also maybe do a little bit of an update on recent events. See, this is more what I expect to see. A group of elephants having a drink, having a splash. But I love the fact that that other one just a rogue elephant off gone swimming alone. He don't read no textbooks. And I thought while we're up here, we could also do a little bit of an update on the snake incident that we had going on up here. I was aware of it. It was a very interesting situation that we had. So I'm literally just gonna read out the information, the update that I've had on this python. Um, so it's been identified as a Malacella python, sustained significant injuries. Upon examination at the Tembe Research Facility, it was determined that the injury is severe and it was located next to the cloaca. Given the sensitivity of this area, the injury poses a considerable risk to the snake's overall health and function. Research specialists have assessed that due to the snake's advanced age, there is potential for recovery. However, the process will require an extended period of rehabilitation. Experts believe that with appropriate care, the snake may regain full function and be able to return to its natural habitat once the healing has been completed. The rehabilitation plan will be closely monitored by the research team to ensure optimal recovery. Detailed observations will be conducted to track the progress of the healing and interventions will be made as necessary to promote a successful return to the wild. So this is the exact update I got earlier, and I believe the injuries were related to this that we're seeing now. I'm actually surprised that that nothing has opened up this carcass. Well, not that I can see anyway, or it's still present. Again, I don't know these cameras incredibly well, or how often we see hyenas or other scavengers, but maybe this has been opened on the other side and I can't see it. But yeah, it seems that the snake sustained injuries at some point during this hunt or kill or attempted swallow or but I'm just rereading what I read out to you. And located near the cloaca, which is the back end. And from what I understand of bush telegraph gossip, interesting python incidents, from what I understand that the big python tried to swallow this and then failed and then regurgitated it. So I'm wondering why there's an injury at the back end. If anyone can give me any insight to this, was it caused? I'm not sure how the injury happened, but regardless, it's always a hot topic for discussion around humans being involved in nature, helping, not helping, when not to, all the rest of it. It's a shame this snake was injured, but in this, it's so difficult. Like you can be vilified if you help, and you can be vilified if you don't help. Um, it's pretty much it's not a no-win situation. I'm just trying to think of how to phrase it. I wouldn't want to be the person making all the moral judgments, put it that way. I actually saw a huge python not long ago, close to where I stay, and it was actually on a fence, and I'm fully support that animal being helped. Someone saying maybe it was injured before and that's why it couldn't eat, or the impala kicked it maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird that it was injured around the back end. Also might make me wonder, I don't know if it was on the cameras the whole time. Maybe it started trying to swallow this and then another predator, there is a scuffle, and I'm not sure whether or not this snake caught this impala on the camera, stayed on the camera, regurged on the camera, and then left. I'm not actually sure. Yeah, Nadine's just given me some other thought processes. But if anyone knows if this whole scenario played out actually in front of this camera, I'd be interested to know. Afternoon, FC and Kelly. Thank you for the Python update. I saw it leaving the carcass and it did look like it had gained an injury, but it looked like on the front. I'm doubting myself now. I'm just going to check something. Yeah, I suddenly thought, are cloacas back end or front end? But I know that they're back end. So if there was an injury at the back, but it couldn't swallow, I don't know. Nadine's going to try and see if we can find a clip from social media to see if we can work out what happened. But anyway, moral dilemmas. Oh, okay. Limbury says during the incident, the horns broke through the skin as it tried to swallow the head. Maybe. Wait, I know what I might be thinking. I normally interpret the cloaca as being the end bit, but I suppose if it's the end bit, it must be the top bit as well. There we go. That was me being an idiot. I've always known that a cloaca is normally for excreting waste and stuff, but if it goes out the end, it doesn't just start at the end, it must go from somewhere. So Limbury, thank you very much for assisting me with getting my thought processes in the correct order. So maybe it was indeed punctured further up to the top of the cloaca rather than the end of the cloaca. That would make complete sense. But yeah, back to the morality of things. I actually had a very interesting conversation a couple of days ago with um, two other people who are um, very wildlife knowledgeable, and we had a discussion around what would happen. It wasn't in this country. Someone saw a um, big eagle attacking a lamb, a sheep lamb, a baby sheep. Um, and they wanted to help, and it was suggested that they didn't because the eagle was wild, all the rest of it. And we had a very interesting debate around what should have happened in that situation. That sheep was a domestic animal placed there by man, um, hadn't evolved any defenses from the eagle. The eagle still had to eat, and then the the conversation progressed into, okay, a sheep is a domestic animal, a dog is a domestic animal. Would you have stopped and helped a puppy? I immediately said, absolutely zero doubt in my mind, unfortunately. And yeah, I don't know, we mused it, and yeah, it was a interesting dilemmas. Um, I mean, I personally decided that I probably wouldn't have helped the lamb, but I would have helped a puppy. Is that fair? I I don't know. Um, that would be my take on it. So yeah, the human wildlife animal intervention thing is a tricky one. Hey, let's have. I've actually just been sent. Excuse me while I watch this. I've got a clip off this actual incident happening, which is going to be really interesting to watch. Sorry, elephants, I'm not paying you much attention. I'm wittering away about snakes and puppies. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense in my head. That my brain said cloaca back end. You wowzers. And it's as we often say, things hunt things. And I saw a clip the other day of it was four lions chasing a giraffe or something. And everyone said, "Oh, there's easier things to hunt than giraffe," and there certainly are. And we normally say, "Why wouldn't it go for an impala or something easier?" This just goes to show everything kind of has the potential to cause problems when you hunt it, but that's how the stakes are even, I guess. Okay, Dawnstar, Mercedes, sad news. Hopefully, it will make a full recovery. Thank you very much. Yeah, I hope so too. Dawnstar injuries were from the horns. Snake left after second attempt at eating it. Thank you for the update. Wild at heart. I'd really like to know how big that python was. Yes, camera was mostly stayed in procedure, which went, oh wow, 2 or 3 hours. Wow, nail biting stuff. I'm actually looking at it now. Ah, it's difficult to tell. Female female snakes are often, uh, not always, but often fatter than males. But I'm looking at. See, I often go on the size of a head of how big a python would be. I mean that. Look at that. Sorry, you can't actually see what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a clip. I've been sent. That's a big head of a big python. I mean that python must be at least 3 meters. Just looking at my floor at the moment. I would say at least 3 meters. Um, wild at heart if I was forced to guess. But maybe we could, I'm sure it's going to be because it was seen and it was monitored and they are helping the python. Maybe we can also ask if we can get a measurement on it. That would be really interesting. But I would probably guess 3 meters. Mercedes, your input, you'd probably try and save a domestic animal, but not a wild one. Um, Sheep are domestic animals. Do you think it was the right thing to do to get out? Would you have stopped and got out of your car and chased an indigenous eagle, an indigenous wild eagle that was possibly trying to feed chicks, and chased it away from a domestic sheep? Um, as the person who was telling the story said, they really really wanted to. Um, right, only we know what we believe is right and wrong. Really, it's just an interesting thought process. Um, these elephants have. I'm feeling a bit guilty. I haven't given them the time or the attention that they probably deserve. But I think let's head over. Maybe let's go to my old favourite Tao. I do enjoy watching the Tao waterhole. I've spent many hours at that waterhole watching what's going on there. So let's head over to Tao and see what's happening there because it still feels a little bit like home to me. Hello, my old friends. Beautiful copies there in the background at Tao Game Lodge that I know so well. And quite bizarrely, Nadine, I don't know if you know this. I was started at Tao in 2013, and I think it's around about 2014. And this camera has been there since I originally guided there many years ago. And I remember having conversations with the African people as a occupant of the lodge as to what the problem was with the camera. And I, for a long time, kept many conversations about what problems may or may not have been with the sound on the camera, and try this and try doing this with it. So I've now been on both sides of this camera, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I've spent many hours at this waterhole, both sides of it, from the lodge, um, from vehicles on the opposite side there. I've also sat up on that beautiful copy behind those elephants, watching the lodge. There was actually a really nice walk I used to do from, what's the perspective? Probably not far off the base of this copy that we can see now. Um, and there was a lovely big boskia that we used to uh, park underneath. We'd leave the car there. It's not far from the lodge, but by the time you've got rucksacks and stuff, and it could sometimes be a little bit hairy getting out of the lodge, because it's so popular with elephants. Grace looks like mountain in the background. It's not quite a mountain, Grace. It's what we would call a copy. I've been to the top of this one. Other side. I've been to the top of this one from the other side, I think. Um, but it's not actually a huge mountain. But we used to park probably. I think you can see the same as I can. It's sort of just to the left along the edge of the mountain under the A of the Africa. There is a nice shepherd's tree there, and we would park and sort of walk along the edge of this, the base of this copy, and then if you went off the screen, off more towards the right, there was a nice, relatively open area, and then there was another beautiful, small little sort of copy that you could climb. There was sometimes some dussies there, and then you could climb up the top of this smaller copy, and you could actually look back at the lodge, and you could see elephants coming down to the lodge. It wasn't like a big long hike. It was just a nice little stroll we would sometimes do after breakfast. So yeah, we'd sort of walk along the base of the ridge of that mountain, and see some really nice views back of the lodge. I think once, I think we, I would imagine probably in dry times, we once counted, we stopped counting at 150 elephants around this waterhole. Um, and that's why it could sometimes be a little bit hairy getting in and out the lodge. I used to, um, when I guided out of town, sometimes there would be maybe 6 vehicles driving out of the lodge with their guests, and we used to regularly get in trouble because we would be late back because we couldn't get back into the lodge. So yeah, sorry we're late. We can't get in because there was elephants all over the place. Those zebra look like they're in time with each other, look like they're marching to a beat there. Colin Eames, you say, Kelly, it's very green. It is. I'm sure you all know just recently this would have been a dusty, dry um, dust bowl of an area, and then suddenly it just pops into this beautiful lush green. Oh, look at that little zebra there in the background. It's interesting watching how so many of these animals walk in single file. Often from a preservation of energy. If there's a game path, a nice smooth open game path, then that's the easiest way to walk. Obviously, the route of least resistance. So they will all walk on that game path, and that's how game paths are formed, obviously. Um, and also from a safety perspective, if there's six all strung out in a big long line, you've got six chances of stepping on a lion, I guess, if especially if it's thick or if it's difficult to see where they're placing their feet. Whereas if they all walk in one line, they've got that front one is taking a lot of the risk, as they say. It looks like there's a nice little spot, maybe a nice gentle slope down there that those zebras are having a drink at. Grace, stripes among flowers. It is a stunning image, isn't it? I'm not sure if anyone has. Do we know what these flowers are in the background? I don't even know. I know not too far from here there used to be lots of wild hibiscus, but these are not wild hibiscus. Probably about 5 minutes drive. I'm just trying to think if I remember the names of the roads there around town. Oh, scuffles! the way those zebra are flipping their lips. They're sort of shaking their heads, flipping their lips. I believe that can be caused by a parasite that sometimes lays its eggs up under its lips there. I think it's a botfly. I'm going to check though. Let me double check my reasoning. But horses also sometimes get bot flies, and they will get bot eggs laid on their fur. But I think this is one of the reasons. Obviously, there's lots of flies here as well, but that sort of nose twitching because they might have a parasite up there up under their lips. Beautiful colours there today. Hmm. Okay. Initial research is suggesting that those parasites are not um, butterflies that might land under their top lips there. Leave it with me. I'm going to put it on my homework list. I've got a brilliant book with lots of parasitic information in it. I'm going to have a flick through that afterwards and maybe come back and give you an update on exactly why those zebras have got those itchy faces. Nathan B, is it a mix of male and female zebras? Yes, it is. Uh, young zebras, young male zebras will probably still be in there, often in groups. This is actually quite a big group of the zebras we were looking at. There was like 20 or something. But it will be a mixture. Often adult stallions who are in charge of that breeding herd won't tolerate, I think there's even more than 20, isn't there? Will not tolerate sexually mature males in their herd. They will chase them away. They will banish them. Um, but certainly up to the age of, well, sexual maturity, the other males will be tolerated in there. So there could be young males, obviously lots of females. It's quite difficult to pick out who the dominant stallion might be in this lot. Normally in zebra herds there is only one dominant breeding male, but they're, like I said at the start, it's the longer you spend watching wildlife, the more you realise you don't know. We all come into this profession with great gusto. Well, I did anyway, and those of us that normally stay around, um, you've got to be interested in this stuff to uh, keep that passion going and keep that passion alive, I think. And you get all the books and you read all the things and you learn all the statistics and you learn how long everything is pregnant for and how fast everything can run and all the rest of it. And then you pass all your exams and all the rest of it, and then you're giving out information to guests, and then you start seeing things, and then you start talking to people, and then you start hearing things, and then you start hearing about the person that saw this thing that happened, and books said that never happened. But then you speak to your tracker who has been in the bush for 25 years, and you said, no, I've seen that happen 3 or 4 times. And you're like, oh, okay. Um, maybe I will adjust my understanding of this particular topic. So, wow, that was another really long answer, Nathan. Yes, it's a mixture of males and females, short version. Tao has indeed turned into a beautiful paradise. Lincoln M, I agree. It's looking like a pasture out there. Absolutely stunning scenery. Jerry, will the elephants eat the aquatic plants? Sometimes I've actually seen them feeding on the sort of it's not it's like aquatic, grassy, reedy sort of stuff. Right up against the edge of the lodge's deck. To the point that I've got a very clear image in my head. My mum came and stayed at Tau 3 times, I think, when I was there. Three, maybe even 4 times. And she stayed a few times in a what room was it? Room 14, I think. So well, there used to be 30 rooms at Tau. I think it's different now. And you had 1 to 14 on the left, and then 15 to 30 on the no, sorry, 1 to 14 on the right, and then 15 to 30 on the left. And she sometimes had the first room on the left there, which was directly above the edge of the waterhole. And I could probably find it if I needed to. A picture of my mum stood. It looks like she's standing on top of an elephant for where the elephant was feeding and where the deck was placed. I was stood on the deck of the lodge actually, and I was waving at her, and she kept trying to move out the way so I could take a picture of the elephant. And I was sort of across the water going, "No, move forward, move forward." I'm trying to take a picture of you. She's trying to hide behind the wall. I'm like, "No, I've got lots of pictures of elephants." And still got that photo. It's a great picture. So again, really long way of answering. Yes, they will. Um, I think it's their favourite food, but they will certainly graze on stuff in that water there because I've seen it. And these little ones coming in. That bigger little one has got a bunch of something, banging it on his head. Oh, look, that tree's gone with all those weaver nests in. There used to be, what tree was it? Might have been an umbrella thorn, actually. There used to be a beautiful umbrella thorn at one side of this waterhole that the elephants actually pushed over while I was working. They were all devastated. Bath time. Look at the little Loki trying to get out. Oh, what a lovely scene. That is literally like children being taken to a splash pool, hey? I'm going all the way in. That's literally just, that's just pure joy, isn't it? It's almost like they're blowing bubbles in there. Johan, it seems the elephants like to be at the water in the heat of the day. They absolutely do, and why wouldn't they? And Erica, don't they contaminate the water with their droppings? Yes, you can see they've just done exactly that. It's it is contaminated. There is poop in there, but as I've often said to guests, oh, that little, oh, come out, little one. You were far too under there. Oh, you're okay. I didn't even see that little one in that big puddle in that elephant. Oh no, he's okay. Oh, oh, are you okay? No, that's what got you here in the first place, is playing with the big boys. Come on, out, go on, off you go. I almost want to go. Come on, they're too big to play with in that. Oh, look, oh, mum's coming back. Oh, that baby elephant's going to be in trouble. That to me looks like the equivalent of a 2-year-old child playing in there with 12-year-olds. You know, maybe a 3-year-old child, 4-year-old child playing with a bunch of 12-year-olds. Oh yeah, he's in trouble. Look, look, she's come back for him. What are you doing getting out of there? That's not very elegant. What are you doing? That was a bit dramatic, that exit. But no, I don't. Oh, look at that. Now we're in the mud. But yes, Erica, yes, they do contaminate their water with their poop. But as I tell guests when I get up and get out the car and I open up poop and look at it, it's just crushed up grass. So yeah, there are some toxins in there that have come from the stomach. And if it's a very, very small area of water and lots and lots and lots and lots of poop, it becomes problematic. But it's mostly plant material, and when there's lots of water like this, it doesn't cause too many problems. Rachel, do the adults ever injure the little ones by accident? Yeah, it can happen. It can absolutely happen. They're so big. You know, if I don't know if an elephant got bitten by a snake or something and jumped to the side, not that elephants jump, um, but just because of their sheer size. Um, or sometimes if, you know, there's a female that's been bothered by a male and she has to chase him away or something, if little ones get caught in between of that. But yeah, they can get injured. Probably grey hair in there. Looks like there's I wonder if they're going to go dust bathing now. They've been in the water, they've been in the mud. Maybe now they're going to go dusting. Let's see if they go off on their way and start doing some dust bathing as well. Itchy, itchy, itchy little one. off her will go. Maybe they're going to do some dust bathing. Ah, there we go. On cue. Doing a nice bit of dusting there. Kicking that dust. Having a good scratch. And as everyone knows, they go in the water and then they will coat themselves with mud. Mud goes sticky, acts like sunscreen, suffocates the ticks and parasites and other things on the skin there. And I was going to say it must feel really nice. I wouldn't like how it felt. I would feel like I was all covered in bits and stuff. But I guess I'm not an elephant. Look at that lovely scenery. This is picture perfect. Look, those two little ones are now going for a drink. Oh, and now is it playtime? Now it's playtime. Rachel, you say it looks like a happy family. Are they all related? Um, are they all related? Maybe not. It's normally sisters and cousins and things that I'm not going to 100% say they're all related. Um, but it's a family group. So as a rule, yes, they will normally all be related. They will be a matriarch's daughter and her daughters and her young sons and things. Elephants do occasionally split herds or reform herds, but as a rule, Rachel, yes, this is going to be a family unit. I spent a lot of time thinking about elephant fathers in the past. A friend of me and a friend of mine, Megan, spent lots of time pondering it. And do elephant fathers recognise their offspring? I can't remember what we concluded, to be honest. But whether or not there would be lots of different fathers to these babies in this group, I would guess possibly. Do the adults ever just play with the calves? From Erica. Yeah, they do. There's lots of people that say adult wild animals don't have time to play. Um, but I personally disagree. Um, they might not play and chase around as we would um, envisage play, and maybe not too regularly because they do have very busy lives of feeding and they need to find food and they need to find water. They've got all those little ones in that dusty patch now. Um, but yeah, they will sometimes, in my opinion. And some people say no, that people, animals, wild animals, only play to practice hunting or something. But no, I personally believe that animals feel joy, and they play and they feel joy and they feel lots of, I believe, um, similar emotions. Whether or not they feel it in the same way, we're probably never going to know. But I've seen elephants playing in what I believe the same way is that humans would play. Wesley, you could watch elephants and monkeys all day. I'm a massive fan of monkeys, Wesley. Monkeys and baboons. I'm a, if forced to say, I would possibly say that monkeys, or baboons rather, are some of my favourite things to watch in the bush, as long as they're out away from habitation. They're not trying to raid something or because they're always doing something and they're always doing different things, and I can really relate to them. I could almost envisage what they might be thinking. You know, if they're picking up a seed or something and rolling it around in their hands, wondering what to do with it. So yeah, also Wesley, elephants and monkeys for days. These little, look at these little ones under their bums in the shade. Lovely elephants as usual here at Tal Game Lodge. I think I've heard rumours that there are some elephants across at Juma. Um, I would love to have a look at a little bit more swimming, but let's see what's going on with some more elephants across at the Juma camp. Hey, look at these guys in the water. This is amazing to watch. I'm just gonna stay quiet and let you enjoy the splashing sounds that we're gonna get from this huge body mass in this water here. Oh, this is amazing. All of these megafauna are really enjoying these times of plenty here. See this, someone tell me this isn't play. Someone tell me that wild animals don't have the capacity or the emotions to play. Those red-billed buffalo weavers in the background. I miss the sound of those birds on the camera. Oh, look at this. Hey, dive bomb! See, I might be swaying. I said at the start of the, I said at 12:30 that I think I might have wanted to be a big male buffalo in the Salati River, but I may have changed my mind. Always get excited to get to water. You see them speeding up, and sometimes you can even see dust kicking up if you're, oh, there's another one coming in. You coming in? Elephant on the right there? Nah. You coming in? Come, the water's fine. Brian said you could play this on a loop all day. Yeah, me too. It's so special seeing all these submerged elephants. We don't see it too often. See, now I wonder if these ones that are drinking look like they've just arrived. And I wonder if the other ones that are still deep in the water are stragglers from a previous lot that just chose not to come out yet. This is epic. It's amazing some of the sightings that really stick in your head when you've spent a lot of time in the bush. You see lots of amazing animals, and we're very fortunate to be able to see very cool things on a regular basis. But there are sightings that stick in your mind sometimes. And so look, is this adult? Are you going in? She's going in, but I'm just see this. Someone asked, do adults play with the calves? This is an adult elephant going in there with the younger elephants, and that to me is play. But anyway, it sticks with me very, very clearly, and it's in my top 5 favourite ever elephant sightings, I think. And I've been very lucky. I've had many, many elephant sightings. And it was when I was working on the far side of the river, so it wasn't a close sighting. They weren't huddled around the vehicle or anything. And we stopped, and there was a gap in the trees, and it was mid-afternoon, I think. There's a breeding herd across the other side of the river, and they were doing this. Oh, look at this little one running ahead. Oh, is he going to run around? That was just like a kid running over to a swimming pool. And there was a breeding herd on the opposite side of the river. They're wrestling. And they drank, and the young ones were playing, and they drank, and then they started leaving as these group looked like they might be about to do, and most of them got out, and they walked away, and there was none left in the river, and all of a sudden this tiny little elephant, probably about the size of the one that was just running around the edge there that I can't see anymore, must have been 20 meters away from the bank. See, yeah, this little one just with his trunk in the water, just sticking out from behind the back end of that adult, probably about that size. And he turned around. We were watching through binoculars. They were so far away, and he stopped and he turned around and he ran back to the water again, ran back into the water up to his tummy, and he splashed and he swung his trunk around and he splashed. And an adult female turned around, walked down to the side of the water. She wrapped her trunk around his side, around his belly, sort of ushered him out the water, sort of gently as if to go, come, we're leaving. And he got about 15, 20 meters away again. And again, he turned around and he ran back to the water. And I think it took her 4 goes to get this baby elephant to come away from the water. I was laughing. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. They were far away. They must have been 80 meters, 90 meters across on the other side of the river. We're watching them through binos, but just the joy of this baby elephant. He was not done. He was not anywhere close to done. And yeah, just the way she Dark Main Lover, hi, how you doing? Yes, they do know all about the fun to be had at pool parties. Hannah's asking, does the matriarch start these sessions? I think she probably sort of goes, right, come on, everyone in from that sort of perspective, but she will often determine or guide the rest of the group around, what order the daily activities happen in. Are these the ones in the water that are shouting? It sounds like someone's running on dry land there. Oh no, it's those guys over on the left-hand side. So Hannah, does she place elephants in that location at that specific time? Pretty much yes, kind of. Would she be able to suggest they did not go swimming in the water? Also, possibly yes. So yes, kind of. I would love it if she could. I would love it if she could sort of get them all lined up on the side of the pan and go, right, 3, 2, 1, swim. That would be an amazing thing to see. But yeah, kind of. I bet this is a young bull here doing this, running around being enthused by life. For checking in, it's a pleasure to host the show. There's just a constant stream of them, hey? It sometimes gets a bit difficult to know who's sort of with who. Elephants, they all tend to stay in their family groups, but I think there is sometimes a little bit of crossover at these water points. And when there isn't, times are plentiful. There's lots of water. There's enough. Oh, this big oak coming in. Not a massive elephant, but certainly bigger than the current swim participants. I wonder if they're going to leave. Yeah, it looks like it. there's there's no pressure, there's no food pressure, there's no water pressure. Everyone has enough. Sometimes these herds can intermingle a little bit more than they maybe would if there was lots of food pressure. If there was just one small pan of water, then there would probably be more tension, less frivolity going on. It would all be a little bit more serious. But plentiful times like this, I'm sure some of these family groups sometimes have a little bit of crossover time in the pool. Hannah's asking, do you become close with any of the animals when you're guiding at a particular location? Yeah, you do. It's difficult not to. We see these animals, some of them on a regular basis, especially if you're at a property for a while. I spent 3 years guiding full time in Madikwe and 3 years at another location in the Sabi Sands, again guiding full time. And often you drive guests out into the bush most days, often twice a day, and you're there to look for animals, and especially animals that have territories that are around the area of your lodge. You see them often, and you can sometimes kind of start to predict their movements. Obviously not all the time, but yeah, you do get not close to them. You do start to feel a part of their environment with them, rather than close as in, hi kitty, come hang out with me. You start to feel a part of their lives more than anything. I guess we kind of are. While not naturally there, at the end of the day, we are in their environment, therefore we are a part of their lives. What impact we have is again up for discussion. But yeah, I have got to know many animals that I've worked alongside, so I've got to know them, got to recognise them. One particular leopard, or two particular leopards and one particular lion. Probably the animal I've known best in my career was probably a male lion. Oh, I can't remember his name. Began with M. Oh wow, that's really. I know it means. Kakala was his name, which means apparently it means walker in Tswana, who is a male lion from Tau. And if anyone is watching that has been watching the Tau camera for many years, I would love to hear from you if you remember the Kakala male. He was a beast of a male lion. Before I started there in 2013, he also had a brother called the Naledi male, and they're a coalition of two. From what I remember, the Naledi male was killed by a buffalo, and Kakala held his territory solid for a long time. If anyone, I would love to hear from someone that remembers that Kakala male. If you do, please join in using X, using hashtag Wild Earth, or scan the QR code. I would love if I can just find one person out there listening today who remembers that male lion. It would make my day, actually. He was a regular feature for most of my time at Tau. Actually, yeah, pretty much all of my time at Tau. No, towards 2016, he'd started moving south. He started moving further south, but certainly for the first part of my guiding career, he was ever present in my daily life, and we would often hear him wandering around the Tau waterhole roaring, and he wasn't the friendliest male, and there was a fabulous guide there, Ernie, unlike you are listening, and Ernie was a brilliant tracker, and often if we heard Kakala roaring while we were having coffee with our guests, Kakala had a habit, he had an MO, and he would approach quickly to see what was happening if you were on foot in his area. He never touched a hair on anyone's head, but it was quite intimidating, and we often used to say, Ernie, go find where that lion is, go track him for us. I did not fancy being approached rapidly and noisily by a very large male lion at any point on foot, if I'm completely honest. But yeah, he was known to be a little bit of a cheeky monkey, old Kakala. And he, oh, look at these elephants swimming. But yeah, so that was, again, really long answer to the question. I think the animal I've ever been closest to is that Kakala male lion. He moved south in the end. He moved south. His territory was being taken over by other lions around Tau. He actually went to the far south of Madikwe and met up with two of his sons. And I actually drove. If my previous guests are listening, yeah, sorry about doing that. I drove sort of a good hour and a half south to go and see him because I wanted to see him after he'd re-linked up with his sons. And they found his body after he died down there in the south. I think he was 13. And he was a very well-known male lion who lived a good life and left a legacy through Madikwe. So who asked if the matriarch initiates this? Hannah, does the matriarch start these sessions? Often she finishes them as well. That's long enough. Off we go. And as we know, elephants have to spend a lot of their time feeding. But I'm pretty sure that a nice cooling dip is an absolute treat for most of these animals on these. Ah, no, we've still got a straggler. No. Periscope in full use there. Back of an ear I saw then, it was quite pale. Did someone else also asked, do elephants use their trunks like periscopes? Yep. Beautiful scene there at Juma. I see Davido is asking, could they cross an entire dam underwater while breathing through their trunks? Depend how big the dam was, depend how big the elephant was, depend how fast they were swimming. Bit of a cop out there, David O. But as we often say in the bush, and also I'm finding in animal behaviour as I'm developing my understanding of that, it depends. If it was a big elephant and a small dam, yes. If it was a small elephant and a huge dam, then no. Could an adult elephant cross this dam sideways? Could this elephant swim across this dam in this direction widthways using just its trunk? I'm going to go non-committal response. Let's head back over to Tau and see what's happening with those beautiful yellow flowers and that lush greenery over there in Madikwe Game Reserve. constantly feeding. That looks like the view. Possibly, I can't quite see the top. I thought that was maybe the ridge line that ran down to the across facing straight south in the Dickway. Very peaceful scene. It's nice to see these animals with lots to eat, lots to drink. I remember we once had um, a legend of our industry, Adrian Lowe, master tracker, educator, um, my tracking idol, to be fair. He came to do some tracking assessments and some trailing assessments with us. And my first attempt at a trailing assessment, I didn't get any level whatsoever because it takes time and it takes practice, and I practiced. And in the winter, I came in the winter, much better for, in my opinion, much better for tracking, because there's more there's more dirt and less grass. We spent ages around this waterhole. We had a couple of us on lookout to make sure no animals were approaching. We weren't disturbing anyone, and all around this waterhole was just dust. Brilliant for tracking practice. This seems to be these elephants have got a little system going here. I'm noticing. This is only my second time coming and sitting watching these cams for a long period of time, and it seems that they swim or do the splashing more left, and then they come to this spot here, and they've got a lovely little second phase mud section, and then they will move on for a dusting in the third section, like going through a car wash, except coming out dirtier instead of cleaner. These are two big bulls here. And it's not till you see these females standing next to a couple of big bulls that you realise just how big these males are. Jasmine, yes, it's very, very dramatic. There's all sorts happening here. There's butterflies and greenery and glistening mud there on those crinkled bottoms of these amazing animals. It really does give you some perspective when you see these big bulls stood next to these females that until you saw the comparison. No, and don't be mean to them. I'm not sure if anyone's noticed before that I'm sure everyone noticed that male elephant had his penis exposed. They will often relax like that to add surface area to them, because surface area, heat exchange. You increase your surface area, you increase your heat exchange area. So that's why they will often stand like that. Is this? Oh, this little one is being lippy to those big boys. No, no, don't you go over there. Look, now Mum's got to get involved. Is she being... What's going on there? Where did everyone go? Did that young elephant went and gave those big bulls a bit of lip there, I think. And then his very tiny compadre went and joined in, and Mum had to go and collect everyone and said, don't be ridiculous, come away. I think that's probably what happened there. And now they are getting out of Dodge by the looks of it. Why do they look so upset though? They do look quite funny when they run fast from behind, don't they? Why are they? What's upset them then? Are they? I can't work out if they're upset, they're disturbed. Well, I don't know if they're just messing about or that was weird. It's unusual you see elephants run like that. It takes a lot of energy for something that big to move that quickly. And will normally only do that if they've had quite a fright. But while those big bulls were big, they didn't look like they were being particularly offensive. Huh. Peace has been restored. Dark Main Lover, Ellie bums are the best. They're certainly um, big, like that. That was actually, that looked quite funny. It didn't look like a very natural speed for an elephant, put it that way, but they're fast. They can move very, very quickly when they need to. Christine says they look like power walkers. They do. But that slightly strange looking gait that doesn't quite look normal. No, I agree. They do look a bit odd when they do that. Starbuck, do elephants breathe through their mouth as well as their trunk? Yes, they do. The same way as we breathe through our mouths and our noses, as do elephants. Dark Main Lover, thank you. It would be awesome for me to get back in the driver's seat. We shall see. We shall see what pans out. You never know what's around the corner in the bush. But thank you for your interest. It still does absolutely stun me about how quickly everything changes here. For some reason, I don't know if I'm probably wrong. It feels like it happens faster here in Africa than anywhere else I've been. In England, in New Zealand, in other areas. Um, hey, it's a piggy. Hello, warthogs. Welcome, welcome. Um, but suddenly that rain comes. I'm actually in a different location. I'm living in a slightly different location to what I was before. And the rain came, and 2 weeks later, everything was green. And it happens. Obviously, it happens every year. That's what seasons do. That sounds ridiculous, but it never ceases to amaze me how quickly everything comes back to life. And nature is so amazing the way that it stores enough energy to rejuvenate. Everything dies off, but it's able to return strong and healthy. It's Yeah, nature is really quite. There's the lodge rooms that I miss. I do miss Madikwa and I do miss Tao. It's where I cut my teeth. Let's leave these elephants here at Tao. Let's head over to El Doño, see what's happening up there and who we have got visiting the cameras. Ah, I miss you, Waterhole. Many, many happy hours. There's another big buck. This big buck looks wet as well. It's no mean feat, but I don't know if it's the shadow or it actually is wet. I'm fairly sure this smart elephant has also been having a lovely splash around there in his pan. And is he on the... Is this phase 2 or phase 3? Are we still on the mud? Or have we moved on to the dust? There's two very regal looking giraffes there in the background waiting their turn patiently. I've still never been to Kenya. That was actually a cool silhouette there of those two giraffes. They were looking in opposite directions, just being silhouetted. I just had an update that these giraffes, there was some argy-bargy going on with these giraffe not long ago. They were having a push on a shelf, and now they're standing there looking so serene, like they were never up to anything. That's an interesting silhouette, though. And that is a really big elephant. That sometimes the height of elephants doesn't, an adult elephant will grow to a certain genetics dependent. But to me, it looks like they fill out. They become more substantial. Their thighs, elephants have thighs. Yeah, I suppose so. Flanks, maybe flanks would be more appropriate. Everything just fills out their flanks, their sides, their necks, their heads, their trunks. Everything just expands. See, these guys look like there's never been anything happening. And look how different the two patterns on these giraffe are. Different to me, maybe it's just the light hitting them differently. Um, but these look almost like two different species of giraffe, but it's just the colouring and the patterns of the breakups. David O, do the biggest elephants come from Kenya? If I remember correctly, the biggest elephant ever recorded was recorded in Angola. Whether or not the biggest elephants come from Kenya, I don't know. To be perfectly honest, without cheating and looking things up or anything, my gut tells me that I know there's some big bulls from Etosha in Namibia, and there's also some big Botswanan bulls, but I've seen some massive bulls in the Kruger. But I'm pretty sure, unless anything's changed, the biggest elephant bull ever recorded was recorded in Angola. Anyone, you're welcome to send in any comments or questions and gladly correct me. I'm always open to being corrected. It's how we learn. I've never understood why, people will, especially today. I mean, I've been in the industry 12, 13 years now. And there's so much information at your fingertips today. You're welcome to join in. I was just going to say modern technology. Join in our conversations on X using hashtag WildEarth, or you can scan the QR code. The wonders of modern technology. but when I started, it wasn't quite as accessible. And you know, I've still got a lot of books, and I still very much enjoy using my books. Um, but anyone can access information so easily now. I've never quite understood, and I've come across it, why someone, you know, someone could have, in answer to that question, well, do the biggest elephants come from Kenya? No, they come from Angola. Um, I don't know. I'm sure there's many surveys and many statistics around elephant size, but again, it's going to be related to, hello boy, it's going to be related to diet and genetics. That's a lovely image of that giraffe. Look at that big bony, um, almost, it's not a third horn, that big bony growth in the middle of that male's head there. And these growths, these bony protrusions, only develop as they get much older. These giraffes. Look at those eyelashes as well. And they, from what my understanding is, they develop as they get older, and science isn't totally sure what the reason for them is, other than to add weight to their head. So these giraffe were necking, they were pushing and shoving, and if you've got a heavier skull, you've got more weight behind that swing. So you wouldn't, from what I understand, it's not too often you see these big protrusions on females. But again, like I said, you're too close to the camera now, Mr. Giraffe. I could be wrong. Happy to be corrected. But that is a really nice um, shot of that very heavy, bony protrusion on that giraffe's skull. If someone explained this animal to you and you hadn't seen one, you'd think they were crazy, wouldn't you? That's a lovely image. Well done, whoever is controlling this camera right now. I think that's a great image. I like giraffes. They always look like they're considering something to me. Not necessarily very quickly, but they're giving everything quite a lot of thought. So he's thinking really hard about something, isn't he? Aha, I have just had something sent through to me by our fabulous FC. Fortunately, I was right, which is great for me and also quite surprising. It makes me very happy. The giant of Angola was a male elephant, and according to estimations, he stood at an incredible height of 13 feet or 3.9 meters at the shoulder. This is taller than any other recorded elephant in history. His weight was estimated to be over 24,000 pounds, which is 10.8 tons, making him one of the heaviest elephants ever recorded as well. This is the elephant I was thinking of. But yeah, I think it was, in my head, I knew I had actually had 10.1 tons in my head. But this has obviously been checked, so it's 10.8 tons, so 10,800 kilograms. And I had 6 meters tall, which was probably to the head. That is a big elephant. So take from that what you will, where the big elephants come from. Are we going to get a giraffe drinking before the end of the show? Are you a spreader or a kneeler? Oh, you're a little bit of a kneeler. Flick, flick. I've noticed I love watching giraffes drink, and completely personal observation. Look, at this elephant looks small now next to this giraffe. I've found older males sometimes tend to do less of the splits and more of a sort of deeply awkward, like knees forward type thing. Let's see if he's going to do it again. I don't know if it's an age thing or a flexibility thing. And I've seen some giraffes, and they hardly spread at all, and they just bend really weirdly underneath. Let's watch. You gonna see? Look at that, bit of a spread, also a bit of a knee bend. Look at those knees bending forward. So I didn't actually know that this giant elephant of Angola was named Henry. That's news to me. And his tusks were 11 feet long and weighed about 220 pounds. I need to convert that into kilograms very quickly before the end of the show. Look, this giraffe's having a good old drink here. 220 pounds. Let's convert. Gonna have time before the show finishes to work out how heavy they were. He's still flick flick. I love watching those giraffes. Someone's just beat me to the conversion rate. Yeah, 99.7 kilograms. They are massive. Some of the big tuskers of Kruger, their tusks, I think, back of my mind, 60, 70 kilograms. So old Henry of Angola was indeed an absolute beast. Well, we're nearly finished for today's session, sadly. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. Beautiful scenes of those elephants swimming, and a fascinating update on the python story as well. But I really appreciate you all sending your questions and comments in. I will be back tomorrow, so please do come and join me again. Bring your questions, bring your comments, and I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. In the meantime, keep on enjoying these cameras.